keep the red thing. I don't care.
Because it blows away and stuff. Because I don't like it. Look at that. It looks like trash.
I'm gonna move.
The rug that I wanted to use, I couldn't find. Maybe if we did it like this.
We're rolling. We're rolling.
Rolling on tap, 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 people. This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.
I should move. I should a little bit like this.
Let's do a countdown.
Okay. How are our levels, Conrad? Levels good?
Can you hear us?
Levels are good? Levels are good.
All right.
Okay.
Are we doing it?
Yeah.
In 5.
I think he's recording.
I know, but I'm just going to say that it's when it's happening.
Okay.
5, 4, 3.
Okay. This is the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. We're out here on Lindale Avenue in the median, and I'm talking loud because there's traffic everywhere. I got 2 lanes to the right of me, 2 lanes to the left of me. This is Melody Hoffmann from Southwest Voices, and I think we're going to start off the show by talking about the new medians on Lindale Avenue. Melody, you've experienced the medians. We're experiencing the median right now. What do you think about it?
I love the concept of this median and the one down on 25th. Drivers are still getting used to the concept of stopping for people in the crosswalk, even though that's an interesting pedestrian law that I think a lot of people don't know, is that drivers have to yield to pedestrians in a crosswalk. And even if you make it this decorated with flashing lights and everything, they're still learning. But I do feel a lot safer as a pedestrian crossing this intersection. I used to work at the business that we are to the right of. So I would cross here all the time to get coffee at Bob's Java Hut. And somebody tipped me once for going across the street to get them coffee. That's how dangerous it is.
It
was.
And my heart rate is a little elevated right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not used to sitting in the middle of Lindale Avenue. Well, I've never done a podcast in person. I started this podcast during the pandemic, during the height of record your podcast over the internet. Yeah. We can't be in person. So I think I'm more nervous doing this live in person I'm more nervous being this close to you than I am being this close to the cars.
That's what a lot of people say when they're around me. So it's not just you.
We've got a lull in the traffic. These signs are large. There's a lot of them, lots of signage. I think Hennepin County didn't expect people to respect the median.
Yeah.
There's a lot of signs, and they're very big.
Yes, and there's also signs. What I appreciate the most about these medians, beyond the pedestrian crosswalk, is that you literally now cannot turn left, because they used to have signs up that said no left turn onto 27th and 25th, and people wouldn't they wouldn't abide by those signs at all, like rarely. And now you physically cannot, because there is, well, in this case, there are some cones which you can update people on why there's construction cones and not cement. But down on 25th, there's a cement median where you cannot drive over.
Well, another thing I've noticed is that, I don't know if it happens at 27th Street, but at 25th Street, people are driving around the median to take U-turns and to get into the loon.
Okay, I just saw somebody do that when we were setting up today. That's the trick now, is that they do U-turns.
People do U-turns around the median.
How I feel about that? Fine, because all you're doing is like harming yourself, I guess. And if drivers want to do that, y'all can do that. As a pedestrian, I'd rather you do your stuff up there than where I'm trying to cross safely.
Yeah, I agree.
And I say that as a driver myself. I know you're not a driver, but
I agree with that. And so let's talk about the long road to get here to where we are today with these medians. And I hope I'm talking loud enough to be heard.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty.
We'll be right back after these messages.
So you will, if we can't get Taylor on the line, you will play the role of Debbie in sales and perhaps respond to my reading of the ad. That's all that will. Did you see Taylor's version of the
I have.
ad recording?
Yeah.
Wedge Live is sponsored by Dispatch, sending you reports from the bustling Minneapolis and St. Paul arts and culture scene. For May, Dispatch welcomes us all back to Filmtown with a profile on the return of the MSP Film Society in their new home at St. Anthony, Maine. Plus, there's the return of the Red Eye Theater, comedian Maggie Ferris's new album, the Caterwaul Music Festival, and much more. Check it out at dispatchmsp.com. That's dispatchmsp.com. How'd that go?
It was all right.
Okay. So back to how we got here. So in 2019, a pedestrian was killed crossing Lindale Avenue between 24th and 25th Street. Ted Ferrara, and the community banded together, held some protest actions at 25th and Lindale, just crossing the street, just continuously crossing the street for like an hour at a time.
yeah.
And letting traffic through intermittently. And eventually Hennepin County had a listening session. I think Marion Green initiated that. And the community was demanding a 4-3 conversion. And we're gonna have a pilot 4-3 conversion this summer. And I'm hoping that goes well, because when they first built these medians, they reduced it to one travel lane each way. And I think that was preferable to this, because
Yes.
you've got traffic right up against the sidewalk. You've still got the 4 lanes. It's still quite fast, even though these medians are helping people cross safely. I'm looking forward to the 4-3 conversion.
So can you explain to me and the listeners and viewers how, because I kind of understood this as the pilot project taking off, but there's another layer now where they're going to do 4-3, and are they going to do it right here?
So the medians are permanent, basically permanent medians. The pilot is let's try this, let's see how 3 lanes work with the center turn lane. And so I'll wait. Let's see how the medians work. No, let's see how the 3 lanes with the center turn lane works. And if that works out well, we can keep that. But regardless, I think we keep the median.
Where are they putting the 4-3 conversions?
From, I think, Franklin-ish. I don't know. Do you know? Basically Franklin to, honestly, Melody, we're doing this whole show and I don't know exactly where it starts and ends, but basically Franklin to Lake.
Right, that's what my understanding. But then my question, I guess, that I'm getting at is then what happens to this intersection in 25th? Because what is going to be 3 lanes here, because we have this median and you can't turn left?
So the center turn lane would start up after the median ends. So you'd return the side lanes, these far side lanes, to parking.
So it will be just 1 lane here on both sides.
Yeah. And basically where the median is will be where the center turn lane is, all along Lindale.
But you don't need the conversion here because you can't turn left here.
Right, they are eliminating left turns and cross traffic permanently, theoretically, assuming people abide. I mean, there's kind of a ramp. If you look at how the 25th Street median is installed, it's kind of got a ramp where you can go over it. And this one is yet to be fully completed.
Do you want to tell people why?
I don't think people care, but it's CenterPoint Energy is doing work, gas-related work. I don't know.
What do you mean people wouldn't care? People care about those details.
I don't think people care about CenterPoint Energy doing work. Eventually, we will have a fully completed median.
I think people care about why we don't have a fully established median.
If anyone is alarmed about not getting the full median treatment, don't worry, it's coming eventually.
Okay.
I had a whole list of other things we could talk about.
I'm just really enjoying it out. Can I just say something about my enjoyment of this median? I was at Fire and Nice across the street the other night, and I was sitting at a patio table, and I walked up and down the median like multiple times just for fun, and it was very fun.
I have started crossing Lindale just for the hell of it.
It's like open streets where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna walk and bike on the street that's usually busy.
I don't know if that's cheating to cross Lindale for no reason at all.
No, you're testing out the infrastructure.
I want to set a standard. I want to be a leader.
Yeah.
And make it acceptable, make it socially acceptable to cross Lindale Avenue.
I believe it is already socially acceptable. The issue is that the drivers need to figure out what they're doing. Because here's the thing, just before we started recording, I was crossing over here to set up our wonderful studio, co-produced by John, Conrad, and myself. And I was very visible with furniture and a red cloth.
Right.
But even though I had pushed what they call a beg button, which is when the lights come on, nobody was stopping. And I was even like being like, hello, I'm here, and still they don't stop. So,
well, I mean, you're a weirdo out here with furniture in the median.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I wouldn't stop for you. The vibe I'm getting here is when your favorite morning show hosts go to the Olympics and you're like, oh, it's the Today Show in China.
I'm videoing him recording, so then you can do it as B-roll in the
all right.
documentary.
Well, you can send that to Conrad for him to clip it in because I don't have the capability to edit 4K video, and our hope is to do this in 4K, as every podcast should be in 4K.
As every podcast, which is an audio format, should be.
My laptop would explode if I tried to edit in 4K. I can only do 1080. But should we move on to our non-Lindale topics?
Wait, do I have anything else to say about it? I want to say something, just sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not going to say sorry. I take that. Please edit the sorry out of the podcast. I want to have more parties on this median because I think it'll bring more awareness to the space.
Well, that's one of the motivations for doing this, besides how stupid it is to make this an icon. Because we know when I said it was permanent, that's not necessarily the case.
No, they could take it down.
They could take it out. They could decide this is the dumbest thing ever. It needs to go. But if we make it a local icon, a landmark, you can't remove the only median from which a podcast has ever been recorded.
Right, it's now a historical landmark in some ways.
It's eligible.
And I can bring some chalk out here and draw that on here so people know.
Yeah. So again, we may be news people, but we also have an agenda.
Okay.
Right?
Yep, as news people do.
Yeah. Listener. So, are we ready to move on past the Lindale part of the show?
Yes.
Should we the plan was to do this for 15 minutes and run away.
Are we done?
How much time have we been out here? I don't want to go. I think we can stay. It's not because we could have been out here 5 minutes or an hour. I can't tell.
We've been out here for like 30 minutes. Well, how long have we been recording for? Like 20?
I don't know.
17.
Okay, let's keep going. We have more.
Jordan? Do you know who Jordan Peacock is?
Yes, I do.
Is that that person in the blue shorts?
It is, yes.
Are they stalking us?
Well, he's friendly. Don't worry.
Jordan!
No, we're in the middle of a show.
Oh.
Okay.
Jordan! You can't hear me
It's
because
okay.
the traffic's too loud.
So, Ilhan Omar was endorsed Congressional District 5.
Start it over. Edit this out.
Ilhan Omar was endorsed at the 5th Congressional District Convention. Don Samuels forced 2 ballots, blocked the endorsement on the first vote. And one thing I noticed from that convention is Don Samuels has cobbled together some of the worst people in Minneapolis to support him. We're talking about like Joe Radinovich, Victor Martinez, Victor Womb to the Tomb Martinez, I think is his wrestling name. Carol Becker.
Jacob Fry's slate. That's his buddies,
yes,
right?
it's Team Fry at the 5th Congressional District
And who
Convention.
got reelected for mayor, John?
Jacob Fry did.
So, does Don Samuels really have the worst people behind him if his goal is to get elected?
So it's weird because Ilhan Omar, if she ran for mayor, could probably win. I don't think she would want to be mayor necessarily. So it is weird that we have split votes like that. Maybe the even year election has a more progressive electorate. Maybe it's something about Ilhan that is appealing to people. I don't know. I don't think Don Samuels has a shot.
Okay. Was that your talking point?
That is my talk. That's my agenda. Do you have anything to say on this topic?
Why is he running against Ilhan Omar?
I don't know.
What will he bring to the position that she has not?
So I can give you what his message is. It's basically, I am the Democrat you want here in true blue Minneapolis. I'm that Democrat that you want to elect. I believe in health care for everyone and climate change and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But Ilhan cast some votes against supporting Ukraine. Yep. He's brought up her vote on an infrastructure bill where I think Ilhan wanted it to be more progressive than it was. And so Samuels is connecting Ilhan to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, very far right extreme Republicans, because they all cast votes against Biden's agenda, but for different reasons.
Okay, thank you for explaining that to me. The one thing I will say, it has nothing to do with his critiques of her voting record. It always makes me feel a little icky when men run against women, and especially, and I'm just going to say that because I'm a white person, but it's kind of like from the power balance, you know? We've had a couple, it just makes me feel like, do you have to do that? I don't know. Well, and she's pretty popular, right? I mean, like
let me push back as a man. Let me push back on this.
Yep.
Because they're very different candidates. So it's not as though they're interchangeable, and it's like, come on, Don, what different do you have to bring? Don has got a lot different to bring, and you may not like it.
Yeah.
But he is a very distinct choice.
5-0.
Really? Oh. Okay. Well, thank you, Minneapolis' finest.
John was really worried about.
I was worried the police would shut us down.
Call 911.
Yeah.
And you know how fast the police respond around here. Right. They would come here and tell us to shut down.
I don't think the police want to shut down a podcast on camera. In the age of the staffing crisis.
I don't think they care that we're here.
Well, even if they did, it would be weird in the middle of a staffing crisis to shut down a podcast.
Horrible optics.
Right. We need unarmed podcast interveners. I hope we don't catch an accident here on camera.
I wonder if there's been any accidents here since.
I wouldn't know. I've been laser focused on you, and I wouldn't know.
No, I didn't mean like since we've been here, since the median's been here.
Probably. There were a lot of. Did you live through that storm we had a couple of nights ago? I feel like the worst morning show host. But there were a lot of abandoned cars. There's just cars abandoned.
I saw that on
cars
Hennepin.
For like an hour or more.
Hennepin. Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know. I'd love to know that story.
Yeah, I don't know if a flash flood came through and disabled all those cars and people
There were multiple cars.
Well, there was one that toppled a bus bench, and then there was one just out in the middle of an intersection. It was chaos out on the streets.
Wow.
Lake Chipotle was super full.
I'm sure it was.
I think a lot of people immediately after the storm just went out there.
Did it crest? Do rivers crest, or do lakes crest?
I don't know.
Like cause, you know what that means? Like.
I think cresting would be toppling over into Hennepin Avenue.
Yeah.
I think it just about did.
Yeah. I didn't realize how long that lake has been there.
Do you mean like into the 1800s or just since the Chipotle went in?
Since the Chipotle went in.
Yeah, so the news did a story on, I think it was Fox 9 did a story on Lake Chipotle.
Yeah.
And they traced it back to an Instagram post from like 2013. And I had taken a lot of pride in coining the phrase Lake Chipotle. I've talked to many people who say, no, I was talking about it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's true because there's at least one Instagram post where someone did that. So I didn't coin the phrase. It's no longer a point of pride.
The amazing thing is that Public Works knows about it and people ask about it, and when they're asked about it, they just...
Well, Public Works knows about it?
Yeah, because just to like bring Hennepin back into the Hennepin redesign into this discussion.
Yeah.
I was at one of the Hennepin redesign meetings, like a recent one, when they were like kind of unveiling the final design. And somebody had asked about it, and I have a tweet about it when I was covering it, and it was something like, they're aware of it, and that was it. Like somebody straight up asked, like, during the redesign, are you going to regrade that area? Because
I think Chipotle was hoping that the city would step in as part of the redesign and fix their parking lot, and I don't think their parking lot is within the scope of a street reconstruction. I don't know how the parking lot ended up that way. What I wanted to do is like contact the civil engineering department at the University of Minnesota and do a podcast episode all about Lake Chipotle. Maybe we could like get in a boat and just sit in the middle of Lake Chipotle with an engineering professor for like an hour. Okay,
we need to get a blow up. A boat is, just hear me out. I think we should get like a blow up floaty thing. And maybe we all sit in our own. It depends on how close people want to get.
I don't want to take my shirt off.
No, you won't have to with the floaty, because the floaty you stay on top.
Okay. We should talk about Hennepin Avenue though, now that you mention it. So, it's been a long road. We had a staff direction. Let's go through the whole story, because a year ago in March, we had two options for Hennepin Avenue, and when the city gives you two options, it's like, we're either gonna do one or the other. Which one do you like? Give us some feedback. Both of them had a full-time bus lane, and the eventual staff recommendation that we got in January of this year also had a full-time bus lane. And now that we have a brand new public works director, it's suddenly become a question whether or not we will have an actual full-time bus lane. And that feels like political meddling to me. I don't like it. I know her good friend Lisa Goodman is strongly opposed to the idea of transportation, street improvements that disadvantage cars in any way. But I think to make Hennepin Avenue a street that serves a $60 million transit investment, an upgrade to BRT on Hennepin Avenue, in a place where during peak times, 50% of the riders, 50% of the people in vehicles on Hennepin Avenue are bus riders, give them a lane.
Well, for some background, if people haven't been following it as closely as we have, the two reasons why the new public works director is arguing for not having the full 24-hour bus lane is because of businesses wanting parking. And then also the justification is that ridership levels have been really low over the last couple years because of COVID. Because Metro Transit literally said for a very long time, what is the phrase, like, important right. What was the phrase that they used? Like, it said
know.
it on the bus. It said like,
Oh, they discourage people from riding the bus.
yeah, it said like
Only essential rides.
essential rides.
Yeah.
Essential rides only.
Okay.
So people like me were like, okay, I won't take the bus. So of course ridership is down. So I think that's
Yeah.
a false argument to have because
Well-
the bus company literally told us not to take the bus.
Additionally, like local ridership, discounting like commuting riders,
Yeah.
that's way down. And local riders, I'm forgetting what phrase I should be using here, but local service riders have been, the decrease has not been as steep.
Yes.
Same for BRT, which is what Hennepin Avenue is slated to get.
Right.
I don't know. It seems to me that when you reopen the street after reconstruction, it should reopen immediately. That's the time to adjust to the new design because they're talking about phasing it in.
You're right.
And when we get, there's Bruce, when we get BRT, when that opens, that's when you should put in the bus lane.
Okay. Are you okay
know,
with that?
Yeah, put it in immediately.
Yeah.
Why wait? Because they're talking about delay. I'm getting very worked up here.
Well, I think it's hard when all of the businesses on Hennepin sign that petition saying they want.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that petition because weren't there some like closed businesses
don't
that
know.
had closed like years ago that had signed it?
Oh, you mean how like Dunn Brothers Coffee on Hennepin has a sign that says,
Yeah.
and Dunn Brothers hasn't been open?
There is a closed business that is closed
Yeah.
pre-pandemic or something that has a sign like "Save our business from this redesign." You closed before anyone was talking about this redesign. I feel like I should have worn sunscreen.
Oh, you didn't put sunscreen on?
No, it's very sunny out here.
Oh. Wow. Somebody just drove by us going very fast.
Yeah.
Like 45, 40?
I hope we're not encouraging risk-taking behavior just because somebody wants to be on a podcast. You know how at the Today Show people stand behind with signs? They stand outside the window with
Yeah.
signs. Nobody's doing that.
Well, we did have some people that were, I don't know what they were doing, but
Were
there
they-
was, well, some friends of the show were
Oh.
over there, but they,
Well, they should have come over.
yeah.
So let's talk about my next non-Lindale topic. Are you ready?
So we're just done with Hennepin?
Unless you want to go on with more stuff.
Well, I thought that maybe I was like in mid-thought or something, but I guess I always am, so it doesn't matter. Go on.
You can come back at any time. This
Thank
is
you.
not a regimented operation. Okay, so with the city set to come back to in-person meetings, there are boards and commissions which will no longer be streamed on the city's YouTube channel. I found that to be a very useful thing.
I am at a loss. I understand.
Extremely.
It was much easier to cover things happening at the city, whether it's the Charter Commission and their various work groups. They've got an even year election work group happening right now. That's going to be harder to follow. Board of Estimate and Taxation also going back to some non-streamed meetings. You have to go to City Hall to see these happen. How will you be approaching the return to in-person meetings?
Well, we are in support of the letter that the Minneapolis documenters sent to the city about, keep your head on, that they sent to the city saying that they're not in agreement with what's going on and they think that the city should be spending funds to keep this.
I thought that was a good letter. That was a good letter.
Absolutely. And so Southwest Voices is in very much agreement with what Minneapolis documenters has been asking for. Again, because we are such a small organization, it's been amazing to be able to see all these meetings online.
Yeah.
And the fact that when some meetings are happening at the same time, you can bounce around to different ones. I'm curious about the funding because everybody just says the money, the money, the money.
Yeah, staff time.
And I'm wondering if the funding for some of this stuff was funded through like the relief plan. Like
I think it was just a necessity. Like there has to be public access to these meetings.
That's how I feel.
And so there were a lot of things done during the pandemic where staff was reallocated towards like away from things that were non-essential towards things that were essential. And they treated streaming the meetings as an essential thing, and they did whatever they needed to do to make it happen. And now that we are entering the post-pandemic phase, even though it's still around, they've decided this is no longer an essential thing. If you want to see the Charter Commission, come to City Hall in person. I mean,
which was never an accessible way to see a meeting to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
And one of my arguments is, if you want to take the power away from me, because I was stupid enough to go to City Hall and watch a Charter Commission meeting. If you hate me, you want to hurt me, and take away my power, stream the meetings, then anyone can see them. Otherwise, you're letting me set the narrative. Like if you think I'm terrible and I distort reality with my tweets, take that power away. Put it on YouTube.
That's what I was thinking, is like it just opens up, it just allows people to come to their own conclusions about things.
Yeah. I mean, to argue against my point,
please.
If you put it on YouTube, then video can be clipped to point out how ridiculous these people are, and so
but you
that's
never
a powerful weapon.
So.
Well, I mean, I do make videos. I'm just saying, putting your terrible ideas on video is a powerful tool to use against your terrible ideas.
I was joking when I said you never do that, because that's all you do.
No, it's not all. I'm here with you, shooting a podcast.
If you could spend your time on one Wedge Live Wedge Live product, I feel like I would argue that you would want to do the videos, because those are.
I don't know. I don't know what Wedge Live is anymore. I spend so much time on this podcast, and I hope people like it. Because it leaves me with less time to do other things. Like, this may look easy, what we're doing right now, but Conrad is going to spend so much time editing the 4K video for this. And he's an unpaid member of the Wedge Live podcast team.
Yeah, as we all are.
So are you. You were unpaid.
Well, as a guest, I should be unpaid. It'd be unethical if you paid.
Is this starting to drag?
I'm starting to drag.
Do you think we should call it?
You know what I was thinking about is I'm worried, like, what if the sound is bad, and then like the whole podcast, you know, like I don't want to record all this stuff and then have the wind.
It's true. Yeah. What if the sound is bad?
So, because we haven't done a sound test after, and this is just from personal experience, that like you record something, you think it's all set, and then you play it back and you're like, oh my God. So
that sounds terrible.
Yeah. So out of an abundance of caution, I'd rather review the tape and make sure that it sounds okay.
Okay. Conrad, how far into it are we?
35 minutes.
Okay, that's good enough. Let's don't stop it. Don't stop it.
You never stop rolling.
Yeah.
Never stop.
So I'm gonna close out the show, and then you're gonna get us like packing up and then walking away. That'll be a good way to end it, right? Okay.
So supportive.
That's what we'll do.
Okay.
Well, Melody, it's been fun.
As we wrap up, what did you experience here today that you weren't expecting to experience, that your anxiety didn't talk to you about?
Well, this is about what I thought I was going to get.
Okay.
Yeah, out here on the median. Yeah. Did anything unexpected happen for you?
I would say the loudness of the trucks I wasn't prepared for. Because when I was out here the other day, it was at nighttime when the workers don't work as much, like this guy.
Yeah.
I was trying to get them to do the, honk, which would scare me out of my chair. Anyways, It's louder than I thought it was going to be. And it's distracting, too. It's very distracting.
I mean, it's not that much louder than when you're sitting on the patio here at this restaurant.
No.
It's about the same. That's the thing. I'm not surprised because I have been on the patio at this restaurant, and you can't have a conversation.
But I feel like this does do some dampening if you're over there and you're not in the middle of surround sound cars.
Right. The both sides thing is a little it's a little loud.
Yeah.
And like you said, we may have no usable audio for the podcast. But we were closing out the show.
I asked you a closing question.
Yeah. Did you finish your answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other wisdom? Because I feel like I'll never forget this. I'll never forget that we did this. But I don't feel like I have anything to take away from it.
I think that was my friend Kirsten. Like the mom of my nephews. That's cool. It is very fun to wave. I would like to, you know what? I'm going to sit here. I'm going to come out here again sometime with my Wedge Live coffee mug that you can't buy in stores and just sit here and wave at people because that's fun.
Well, you can buy them in stores, Melody. You're wrong. You can buy them at the Wedge Live store.
You can?
They are on sale now.
Oh, damn.
That's why I'm giving you one. Product placement.
I thought it was a special thing for me only.
No, other people, you can buy them.
Oh. Well, thanks anyways.
Go to wedgelive.com, look for the store tab, and purchase a mug. As seen on Lindale Avenue.
One day, I'm going to get these in Aldi. That's going to be you've made it when your shit gets sold at Aldi.
I think that's true. Although they sell only off-brand things, so it'll be like Dredge, Dive.
Yeah, it'll be like, yeah.
It'll be a rip-off version.
It will be.
Okay, I am closing out the show for real. My guest has been Melody Hoffmann. My other guest has been Lindale Avenue. Thank you to Conrad for sitting out here in the median with a camera, making sure we're captured in crystal clear 4K for our viewers on YouTube. This has been the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. Thank you for listening.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.